From Portland, Joe Samaniego, Nicole Fry from Fans and Focus Media. Nicole, it's great to have you this year. It's race weekend, INDYCAR, NTT INDYCAR Series, and it looks like we're going to have a special guest. Jacob Abel is coming out to join us right here, so I'll pass this over to you as Jacob Abel is here.
Perfect, thank you, Joe. Hi. Hi, Nicole.
Jacob.
Nice to meet you. All right, ready?
So ready.
Sorry to spring all these questions on you. How are you feeling ahead of the Portland INDYCAR weekend?
Yeah, very good. This is a track that I've always loved. I was able to get the win here last year in the IndyNext series, so to finally race it in IndyCar in the big series is really special. I think the fans always rally around this event a lot, and it's something that's super cool.
Yeah. So you've had good luck here in the past. It seems to be a good track for some drivers, a not so great track for others. What are you looking forward to this weekend as far as the track is concerned?
Yeah, I think everything, honestly, just kind of taking the challenge of learning it in a new car. I haven't driven this track like most tracks this year in an IndyCar, it being my rookie year and everything. So, yeah, just trying to adapt as quickly as possible. Qualifying is very, very important here with the tricky turn 1 and 2. There's always a lot of action there, and the further up the grid, the easier it is to stay out of it.
The Sheldon chicane kind of approaches you quickly. It's sometimes a little scary. So as far as good results for the weekend, what would your ideal result be? Another win?
Yeah, that would definitely be great. Expectations aren't that high this year as they were last year. Just being in the IndyCar series is obviously much more competitive and a lot of really, really good drivers. So to us, I think just a solid weekend, feeling like we've maximized our potential, kind of start to finish, would be a really good one. We're nearing the end of my rookie year, so to try and get some good results would be awesome. Maybe transferring into the Fast 12 and qualifying would be really cool. A top 10 in the race would be spectacular. So we'll aim those as our goals.
It is a fantastic goal. And as far as the end of the season approaching, what are you most looking forward to in your off season?
Yeah, I think just to finally take a breath. This year for sure has been super, super intense. We've raced like 8 races in 7 weeks or something crazy like that throughout the middle part of this season. We were able to get a weekend off last weekend, but yeah, it just all happened so quickly, to be honest. It feels like just yesterday the start of the season, and now to be already basically to the end is pretty wild, but excited to get things prepared for next year for sure.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. Have a fantastic weekend. It was so nice to see you here.
Thank you.
All right. Rinus, Veekay, welcome back to Portland. This year, you got a podium, you've had some strong runs. How would you rate this year so far for you?
Yeah, I think this year's been really good so far. I was without a seat until 2 weeks before the season started, so that was, to have already 7 top 10s in a season, 3 races to go, a podium, and I think it's been really good for us. It's been really fun. For me, my first year with Dale Coyne Racing has been very successful, so I think everybody around me is very happy.
So you're coming to Portland, you race here of course. When it comes to the difference between Dale Coyne Racing and your prior team, are you noticing like a big difference, especially since you switched from Chevrolet to now Honda?
You can feel a difference, yes. It still drives like an IndyCar, but there are some differences. I do think that we have to find out a lot of stuff tomorrow in practice to really be able to tell how it's going to be, but I think this team is so open-minded that we can work against adversity really quick and really get results even if it doesn't look promising at that time.
And you got, of course, Jacob Abel, brand new teammate this year. Has he sort of looked up to you for like some tips and advice, especially since he, being a rookie, had some misfortune with the Indy 500, but just gaining his experience here at IndyCar?
Yes, he's been asking a lot, and I've been giving him some tips. He knows how to drive. He's won before in IndyNext. He's done really well. It's just a few little tips and tricks that I found throughout the years that I tried to give it to him, because it's just nice if you know stuff and you don't have to find them out. So. There's a few things that really make sense in my mind that I'm trying to just give him as advice, but for the rest it's been all pretty straightforward. We're both doing our things, and he's been a great teammate for me. It's been a lot of fun too.
And last question, of course, as you mentioned, very late until you got to deal with Dale Coyne Racing. Must have been an uphill challenge, learning like the chemistry between you, the team, the engineers. what does it say about this team and the ability to, just, you mentioned the word resilient, to just come together and get some really great results, considering some of the bigger teams out there like the Penske's and the others, and yet here you are, you got a podium earlier this year, which got a lot of people talking.
Yes, no, I think it's been really good. It's my off season. I've been working all off season towards St. Petersburg, that first race, even though I had no seat, but I just had the faith. So I was ready when I got signed. I was ready to go right away. And also we had an engineering overhaul halfway through the season after the 500. So that was something to cope with. But now I work with Michael Cannon, who is a very, very experienced and very respected engineer in the series. So we've been doing really well so far with both engineers this year. I've been working really well and having a lot of fun. So, it's still, we have to learn a lot as a team. We can still improve, but I think we've exceeded ours, but also everybody else's expectations.
Thank you so much for your time. Best of luck to you this weekend.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
So Portland is obviously kind of nearing the end of the IndyCar weekend. How are you feeling going into this race?
I'm feeling really good. I think we've been really strong at all the road courses this year, and we've just been getting stronger and stronger. So I think going into this weekend, we're feeling confident. And, cars were really good here last year. Alex got second. So I think as a team, we're all feeling pretty confident in our cars.
So as a team, as a driver, do you have any goals for the weekend? What is your ideal walk away? I'm going to be happy.
I mean, top 10 is what I've kind of been aiming for all year, every race. So I want to qualify fast 12 and then finish in the top 10. So if I accomplish that, I'll be happy. But, anything more would be great. I think we've shown great pace to have top fives and podiums at other tracks. So if we could now kind of looking for that win, that'd be incredible. So just kind of looking forward always.
So this track can be a little bit tricky for some drivers. There's that very intense challenge chicane right off the first turn. How do you approach a track like this as a driver?
It's difficult. There's so many different sections to it, and it's a track that tends to really beat up the tires quite bad. So it's difficult to race it, and it just makes it a difficult strategy race. So it's one of those races where it's kind of harder to pass, but on strategy you can do some things to make up positions. So it's just it's an interesting one. It's always a different challenge for us. So having that nice mix of tracks throughout the IndyCar season is very nice, and I think this is one that kind of stands out, is you just really need to make sure you've got pace.
So final question of the evening, kind of a fun question. If you could take any track anywhere in the world and go and race your car this weekend, where would you like to be?
Any track?
Any track.
We already race IndyCars at Road America, so that's always my favorite track, but to race an IndyCar at Spa would be pretty incredible.
That would be absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great weekend. It was so nice to see you here in Portland.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, you've won twice in Portland. How are you looking forward to this weekend? What are you looking to do on track?
Very much looking forward to the weekend. Definitely had a rough season for all of us at Penske, but love this track. Won here last year. Always enjoy it. Definitely flows well for me with my driving style. So you can never just assume you're going to be quick because it's such a tough series. But hopefully we're running at the front this weekend.
So you mentioned that this track can be kind of tricky. That Shelton chicane kind of comes out of nowhere. What about this track suits your driving style so much?
It's just a very flowy track, sort of off the brake, flow mid-corner speed. I really enjoy those styles of tracks. I like everything. I like all sorts of tracks, but in particular these usually suit my style. I love the chicane on the back straight, turning in sixth gear, no brakes, nothing. So big commitment. It's actually the first track I ever drove at in the US. So
really?
It's got a special place. It was the beginning of my first time I drove an IndyCar, first time I ever drove in the States. Very nice to win here.
Does it feel like coming back home a little bit?
Because I raced here in Champ Car, these places all become very familiar. You get used to the same places you stay at. Just any racetrack feels like home, but I really enjoy this area. I like the city, and it's always a good crowd.
So last season you made a comment that sometimes drivers should kind of take the moments in and really appreciate them. What about this season have you appreciated, despite the fact that you guys are still hunting for a win?
I still just appreciate the fact that I'm doing it. Even when you're having a bad time, you're getting paid to do what you love. You can't compare it to anything else. There's nothing else you're going to do in your life that you're going to enjoy as much as this. You really got to have the right perspective. You really do, even on the bad days. I mean, you're still racing an INDYCAR, and not many people get to do that. So it's just tough to ever make it to that point, but let alone be able to do 20 seasons and win as many races I have and championships and Indy 500. Like, you're just lucky and fortunate to have done that.
And it's been a very long season. What are you most looking forward to in your off season?
Well, what I'm looking forward to in my off season is kind of knowing what I might be doing next year. That's definitely one thing, to get that sort of pressure off and just know what I'm doing, whatever that may be.
Thank you so much for your time. Good luck this weekend in Portland.
There you go.
So Nicole, we had an opportunity to talk to all the drivers today. Overall, I'm sort of impressed. It seems like everyone's just talking about, when it comes to the next season, this race I'm not seeing like a whole lot of like pressure. Is that a little bit of a surprise to you, or do you feel like everyone's just sort of at the season end and we're just going to try to do the best we can?
I think everyone is definitely kind of at the season's end. I think most of them are not really fighting for a whole lot this weekend as far as the championship is concerned. So for them, getting through the weekend, getting some points, getting a good timing and a good result, and as minimal damage as possible is going to look fantastic for them. So I think they just feel like they can show up at a track where most of them have driven before, and they're going to be good to go.
And you say minimal damage, of course, the Shelton chicane, one of the most treacherous ones. We were out at Portland International Raceway earlier today. All right, so Nicole, we're standing out in front of the Shelton chicane. Considering how this looks pretty simple, we've seen so much chaos here. Is it sort of impressive of just how this simple-looking corner could be such a deciding factor for the weekend?
It is always amazing how surprising the Shelton chicane is. Every single race weekend, it seems to be a little bit different as far as how the cars behave, what the drivers prefer, and just how chaotic this makes the race weekend every single time. It's definitely a little bit trickier than it looks, and definitely a little bit sharper too, so it's always something to keep an eye on.
And it's always amazing that it's not just rookies that make mistakes here. We've seen past winners, past champions. A few years ago was the first year when Alex Palou got his win. He got in a little bit of trouble, but avoided it. But had a penalty, had to come back from the back towards the front, get his win. When it comes to this year, are there any drivers that stand out that might be a little bit cautious? First driver that comes to my mind is sort of Robert Schwartzman, the rookie. Very talented, very fast, but I feel like this is such a treacherous corner.
It is. I think with this corner, the rookies are always in a little bit of danger because it's so deceptive. It is so deceptive. And I think we even had a quote last year from Alex Palou saying, you have to give 99% because if you give 100, you're going to go off. And that means it is always going to just be a little bit uncertain as far as what we're going to expect. I would definitely say the rookies are high up on the list of people we need to keep a close eye on. But honestly, any pinching, any squeezing that happens, especially out of the first lap, that's something we're going to want to watch very closely.
Now, of course, with that first lap, they moved the start further back a couple of years ago. We've seen some good clean starts, but before, we saw some chaos. I know there's only 2 drivers left in the championship. You got Alex Palou, Pato O'Ward, everybody else just wants to go out there, get a win, a good finish. Do you think that could increase the danger of somebody just being super aggressive, entering, knowing that I don't care about a championship and I don't care about Palou and O'Ward?
I don't know. I'm betting the opposite, actually, because I think a lot of these drivers who aren't in championship running are just going to want to get through the race. They're going to not want to cause as much damage as possible. They want a good start. They want a clean finish. And I think our championship drivers will want that as well because they know it is make or break in Portland. We could have a championship winner crowned here, and they're not going to want to do anything to mess that up. And I think they'd rather sacrifice a little bit on the first couple of laps, maybe take it a little bit slower, learn the track a little bit and how it's feeling versus risking it right out the gate.
It's going to be very interesting to see the Shelton chicane, how it's all going to work out. So when it comes to Portland International Raceway, of course the Shelton chicane we've talked a lot about. But of course there's those S's. It's almost like a rhythm section. We have the long backstretch, which has a little bit of a curve. We saw you could get in trouble there. Scott Dixon crashed out pretty hard last year. And even the last few corners, I know a different series, but Nick Cassidy, of course, leading with a few laps to go, crashed out. Isn't it a bit of a surprise how for a 1.9 mile track, there's a lot of opportunities for mistakes here.
There are. It is a very unexpected track. I think it is a very technical track that some people are not expecting to have out here in the Pacific Northwest. I think it kind of catches drivers by surprise, especially if they're feeling very relaxed, possibly going into the end of the season where this race is typically situated. I think overall they just have to be on their A game. They do have to be very careful because, yes, that Shelton chicane will come out and it will bite you.
And of course, one of the big things, it was a surprise to me when Alex Palou came here his first year at Portland International Raceway. He went out and won. Of course, earlier today we were at the pits. So we're standing here in front of Alex Palou's paddock area. Of course, Chip Ganassi Racing. Everyone's following what this team is doing. I mean, Alex Palou got a couple of wins here. He's clinched a championship here before. Do you feel like this is just another race weekend into Alex Palou world?
It's hard to say. It is hard to say. I think he has had a phenomenal history of doing well here at this track. But like we talked about earlier, the Shelton chicane can kind of come out of nowhere and bite you really fast and really hard. And so I think it's going to be a test of his strength and his stamina to see if he can pull it out and get another championship win here at Portland. But I don't think it's a guarantee, especially not with Pato O'Ward right behind him.
And of course, Pato O'Ward's paddock is just right over there. So they're not far behind at all. And they're going to be trying to bring on some pressure. He got a best finish of 4th place here a couple times. Do you feel Pato O'Ward qualifying is going to be the big key indicator of whether he could keep this title hopes alive?
I think so. I think every moment for Pato O'Ward this weekend is going to be absolutely critical because while there are technically 3 race weekends left, he's going to have to do well here in order to keep his championship hopes alive. And I think he's going to be paying very close attention, as will his team, to every single turn, every single quarter, and every single timing.
It's going to be very interesting because you got, of course, those two, everyone else mathematically not in it. So they're all going to be going just for race win, pride, secure a seat for 2026. Overall, do you think this is going to be one of those races where we might see a lot of cautions? Because it seems with this race, we either have a lot of cautions or hardly any cautions, like 1 or 2.
I think it will kind of depend on how many drivers are still hunting for a seat next year. I think if they really are looking for an opportunity to either move teams or stay with their current one, they're going to want to have something to prove. They might have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They're going to want to make sure they have an income and a seat for next year. And if that's the case, then I think, we could see a couple more cautions. Maybe some drivers aren't, being as safe as normal, trying to impress their team or their future team. But we'll just have to wait and see, I think, specifically with qualifying.
It's going to be very interesting qualifying. That's going to be the big key decider, I think, when it comes to this race weekend. So, Nicole, we're coming to Friday tomorrow. Of course, we're going to be at the track again, practice session, and we have a lot of support races as well, too. Overall, when it comes to this event and how big it is for the Pacific Northwest, is this something where you feel like, especially this year with, again, a championship potentially being decided, this is like one of the must-see events?
It is, and if you're a local fan, this is definitely something that is so accessible. It's so fun, and I think IndyCar in general is just a really good gateway motorsport, for lack of better terms, to get fans involved and kind of into the sport for the very first time, whether that is just as a child or as an adult. It is definitely something for everyone, and I think Portland International Raceway just make it so welcoming to everyone. It's so good to see IndyCar back here, and I think it does so well at this track.
And speaking about child, earlier today we talked to a rising racing star that's going to the Nationals right here. Standing here with Caleb Canfield, local racer here. You're going to Nationals. Can you tell us a little bit about your upcoming race in Nationals?
It's coming November, and it's in Las Vegas. It's the national championship.
Now, what kind of cars? Are we talking in go-karts, or are we talking like some other type of single-seaters?
Go-karts.
Go-karts. Now, of course, you've been racing quite a lot. What year did you start racing?
The end of 2022.
2022. How old were you when you started racing?
I was like almost 7.
So, 7-year-old, you started racing. Since you started, what's your favorite part about racing when it comes to motorsports?
Going fast and having competitors.
Last question. When it comes to big goal, there's a lot of options. Formula One, INDYCAR, NASCAR, even rally. Is there a particular series you'd like to go into someday?
The NASCAR Cup Series.
Thank you so much for your time. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, Nicole. Well, It's been a lot of fun here. I know I was going to ask how you're enjoying everything so far when Jacob Abel showed up. Overall, how's the day been for you?
It's been great. The weather is beautiful here in Portland, which is not something we can always say. The drivers are excited, the teams are excited, and overall IndyCar here in Portland is just such a wonderful atmosphere. It is so good to be back on track, and we cannot wait for the rest of the weekend.
We cannot wait for the rest of the weekend. We encourage everyone to subscribe, hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our coverage. We'll be on the air again Friday to recap Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday, special Grid Live pre-race. And then the wrap-up show, approximately 90 minutes following the conclusion of IndyCar and NASCAR, whichever one ends later. For Nicole, I'm Joe. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.